One of the main promises of Brexit was to take back control of the UK's laws and regulations from the EU. However, this process has proved to be more complicated and controversial than expected. The retained EU law bill, which was supposed to scrap thousands of EU laws by the end of the year, has been watered down by the government, sparking a backlash from pro-Brexit Tory MPs who accuse Sunak of breaking his word and betraying the Brexit vision. The retained EU law bill, RUL, was introduced by former Prime Minister Liz Truss in November 2022 as a way to end the special status of EU laws that were incorporated into UK law after Brexit. The bill aimed to automatically remove any remaining EU laws at the end of 2023 unless they were explicitly chosen to be saved by ministers. This would have affected around 4,000 pieces of legislation covering various areas such as trade, environment, consumer rights, and workers' rights. However, in May 2023, the government announced that it would amend the bill to propose revoking only around 600 of the almost 4,000 EU laws by the end of 2023. The government said this would provide certainty for businesses and avoid legal risks and uncertainty. The government also said it had already revoked or reformed 1,000 EU laws since Brexit and would revoke another 500 by 2 other bills. The decision to ditch the deadline to scrap all EU laws by the end of 2023 was met with criticism and disappointment by some pro-Brexit Tory MPs who saw it as a betrayal of the Brexit vision and a failure to deliver on the promise to take back control. They argued that the government was keeping unnecessary and burdensome EU regulations that hampered the UK's competitiveness and sovereignty. They also accused Sunak of reneging on his pledge to sunset all EU laws by the end of 2023 when he was a spokesperson for Truss in January 2023. The retained EU law bill has also faced opposition from other parties and groups who warned that it would create massive amounts of work for departments with little benefit, empower ministers to replace laws as they see fit without proper scrutiny, and open the door to weaker regulatory protections for consumers, workers, and the environment. They also pointed out that almost half of British directors would prefer to retain laws inherited from the EU instead of seeing them removed. The retained EU law bill is still making its way through Parliament and is expected to face further amendments and challenges. It remains to be seen how the government will balance the demands of different factions within its own party and across the political spectrum, as well as the interests of businesses and civil society, in deciding which EU laws to keep and which to scrap. The bill is a test of Sunak's leadership and his ability to deliver on his vision for a post-Brexit Britain. The government's plan to get rid of thousands of EU laws by the end of the year has hit a major snag. Instead of fulfilling its promise to scrap or review 2,400 EU laws in its first 100 days, the government has now admitted that it can only immediately get rid of about 600 of them. Another 500 will be repealed by other legislation in the works. That leaves more than 2,000 EU laws still on the UK statute book, with no clear timetable for their removal. Why did this happen? The government blames the civil servants who were supposed to identify which laws should be scrapped. According to Business Secretary Kemi Badenoch, they spent too much time trying to save EU laws rather than getting rid of them.